Good evening, Illumineers, and welcome to another stream from I Fought the Law. Today, we're going to be looking at Ruby Amethyst, which is a deck that I played initially when I first started playing, actually, in the back end of set 1 and into set 2, and in the first set championships, and got to the top 4 in that, which was really good. I moved away from it briefly over time. And the deck these days has evolved quite significantly, as you'll see in the upcoming video, I think. Up until Archazia's Island, I think we had a fairly stable meta for Ruby Amethyst with the bounce package, and I think things changed dramatically with the addition of a few cards. Peter Pan, Shadow Finder, I think, which was an older card, but really found its place in Archazia's Island. So yeah, I think Ruby Amethyst is a deck that you either love it or you hate it. But let's get into it a little bit in a bit more detail. So here's what we saw a lot of in Archazia's Island, which is the Rush package with the Peter Pan Shadow Finder. As I said, you've got the Iago with the Vanish ability. You've got obviously Maui Half Shark is a key card for this one, and you've got most of the other things you'd expect to see. This actually was Jackson Tran's deck, but you're pretty much going to see similar decks to this, and I'm sure you've played against similar decks to this during Archazia's Island. You've got your standard 1-drops, your card draw in those. You've got a little bit of bounce package in the Fox, but the Snake notably is absent from the vast majority of these lists. You've still got your Crab. As I say, we've got the Peter Pan Shadow Finder. We've got Genie, of course, for more card draw. And, of course, because he's evasive, so Peter Pan gives him Rush. We've got Iago, obviously with evasive, so therefore gets Rush. Easy to remove, but not many people run counters to Iago, so that makes him a really, really strong card in this package. You've obviously got your Goat, or some people left the Goat out entirely, to be honest. Your Elsa's. Your Maui Hero to All and your Maui Half Shark, clearly really important cards. And Jackson here's gone for 3 Brawl, 2 Finders Keepers, 1 Dragonfire, 4 Friends on the other side, of course, 4 Be Prepared, of course, and 3 of the Library. Card draw is king in this game, and this deck has it coming out of its ears. It's got card draw everywhere, but more importantly, it's got super removal. When you compare that to Here's a more traditional Ruby Amethyst, one that I played for a little while in the last set. I tend to prefer this. I'm used to this, but that's just me. Running your Tremaines, Medusas, Sisus, that kind of thing. Very, very different. I mean, you've still got a lot of the same core cards because these are the best cards in these colours. But it's an entirely different setup to where you want to be with these decks. So Maui Half Shark's going to bring back your actions, so you don't need necessarily to run as many of the actions, hence the only 3 Brawls, 1 Dragonfire, and 2 Finders Keepers. And yeah, I mean, when you compare the two of them, there's real strong differences between them. I found playing the mirror match with this deck, in the first couple of set championships I went to, I played this deck. I made top cut, unbeaten in the first one, lost to a random Amber Steel deck in the top 8, and in the second one I bubbled out. Basically, I got hit by lots of aggro, and that's the kind of matchup where your rush package, your evasives is gonna really, really have that advantage. I found in the mirror match, though, that the traditional Ruby Amethyst was stronger in a lot of respects because you've got those Tremaines, and bear in mind you can shift Tremaine onto Tremaine. You've got a little bit more bounce, so I ran 4 Fox and 2 Snake, primarily to bounce back those Medusas and those Tremaines. I tinker with this deck a lot. As you can see, there's a lot of 4 ofs, but there's a few 3 ofs, 2 ofs. So I've got 3 Genie and 2 Rabbit, for example. And a big part of that was because the meta was evolving so much throughout the course of Archazia's Island. So yeah, I think personal choice what you prefer of these 2 decks, but the evasive package was definitely the more common one, I think, during Archazia's Island. So moving into Reign of Jafar, I think we're going to see even bigger changes to Ruby Amethyst, and that basically means we're gonna be seeing things like this. So the 7-drop Hades Ruthless Tyrant. When you play this character and whenever he quests, you may deal 2 damage to another chosen character of yours to draw 2 cards. So that's more card draw, and that's damage upping in onto your characters. He quests for 2 as well, and he's a 3/6, so he's a big body. But I think the key thing is this is a big part of what we're going to see in Ruby Amethyst following rotation is this damage ping and this moving damage. So we've got a new Panic card, which will move 2 damage. We've also got, obviously, Bell, the Accomplished Mystic from an earlier set, the 5 cost. She will move 3 damage from one of your characters to another. So I think that's really a big thing in this set. And in fact, continuing in that vein, if we move on, we have Mother Gothel and Madame Medusa. So we got Mother Gothel. When you play this character, you may deal 2 damage to another chosen character of yours to give that character Challenger +1, and when that character is banished in a challenge, return this card to your hand. That's a 2-drop. I don't think we'll see as much of that as maybe of the Hades, but it's the similar vein of card, and I think going into Reign of Jafar, I think we'll see even more of that type of card. And along with this Madame Medusa, of course, the 3-cost 3/3. When you play this character, you may deal 2 damage to another chosen character of yours to return chosen character with cost 2 or less to their player's hand. So, there's a real theme and a real big change coming in Ruby Amethyst following rotation. And this is a huge part of why that's the case. And of course, you compare those with the Queen of Hearts that we got in Archazia's Island. When this character has damage, she gets +3 strength. So a 2-cost 1/4 inkable. Quests for 1, but as soon as you got some damage on her, she becomes a 4/4 and, quite hard to remove and can take a few things out herself. This package is definitely what they have planned, from what I can see, for Ruby Amethyst. And in fact, if you look at the new 4-cost action, everybody's got a weakness. You can move 1 damage counter from each damage character you have in play to chosen opposing character and draw a card for each damage counter move this way. Now you pair all that up and you've got a real change in the meta for Ruby Amethyst, at least. The bounce package will, of course, in the most part be gone. We still have a couple. We have the Elephant and the Rhino will stay with us. And obviously there may be some reprints. I wouldn't have thought Fox gets a reprint. I think that's been an incredibly strong card, and it's been in every single Amethyst deck since it came out. But I think we'll see more cards along this line. I think we lose the Bell, I believe, in rotation, but we've got a new replacement for that as well. Bear with me 1 minute, guys. I've just got to get some power onto this. Give me 1 minute. Okay. My apologies for the interruption. I was upstairs preparing this stream before coming on, and I clearly ran the battery very low and didn't bring it down with me. Anyway, so yeah, that's what it looks like, the direction that Ruby Amethyst is going in Reign of Jafar and beyond in Fabled. So let's see what else we've got in this set. So, the new 2-cost legendary Tinkerbell, the evasive 1/1. But whenever you play a character with 5 strength or more, you may exert them to gain 2 lore. Now that's, all in all, not a great card, but with some of the cards you get in Ruby, such as your Mauis. So you got your Half Shark and your Hero to All. You can play those on turns 5 and 6, get the 2 lore immediately when you play them. Obviously, if you're going with the evasive rush package with Half Shark, you're probably not going to want to do that. But in general, it's pretty strong. And then, of course, we've got the new Prince John. 3-cost uninkable 5/5. Whenever an opponent plays a character, deal 1 damage to this character. But if you play that immediately after Tink, you've got that straight away. You're gaining 2 lore instantly. And he's just a really strong card anyway. I think we'll see quite a bit of him in this set. And he also brings back another old favourite of Flynn Rider. Flynn kind of died out a lot in Archazia's Island, but I think with cards like Prince John, I think we may see more Flynn Rider coming back. Obviously, the turn after Flynn Rider, you can get Prince John out there. You've got a really big body that's going to be very hard to remove quickly. They're obviously going to focus on the Flynn, which gives you Prince John a little bit more time on the field himself. Okay, in terms of impact cards, that's what I can see so far and what I have seen so far through a few hundred games of testing so far. But on top of that, we're starting to see some of the replacement cards coming in, such as Yolana is clearly a long-term replacement for our Crab here. Is it as good a card? Probably not. Well, definitely not. They're both a 3-cost inkable. Merlin, of course, being a 3/3, and when he enters and when he leaves, gives Challenger +3. Yolana, when she enters play, gives Challenger +2, but she does quest for 2, so I think they've made up for that a little bit. But I think this is effectively what we're starting to see now. Some straight-out replacements or a similar kind of cards ready for rotation. So, I mean, that's really a quick recap on Ruby Amethyst and what we're expecting to see in the coming months. But, of course, Fabled, everything is currently gearing towards Fabled, I would say. And I think the plan for Ruby Amethyst seems to be to turn it into kind of a ping damage onto your own characters and then shift it across to the opposing characters. And whether that's going to be as viable a strategy as we've had before with the bounce package, possibly not. But I think every deck is going through a major overhaul over the course of the next 3 months, and Fabled is going to really shake things up. Whether you like that or not, that's a different matter. I personally am probably a slight fan of rotation, despite the fact that I have all the old cards. I spent quite a bit of money getting them together. But I think, you want to encourage new players on the scene. And if you've got Rapunzels and things like that are really hard to get rid of, going for 50, 60, 70 pounds each, a new player is going to be put off straight away by that. So by reprinting some cards and taking others out of rotation, you really kind of give new players a chance to get into the game. And it's a game we all love, so I think we should want to see new players entering. There's always going to be some people that will stop playing or will leave the game for whatever reason. But new players overall is a very, very positive thing. I think that's pretty much it. But obviously, there's a lot of different opinions on Ruby Amethyst. You've all got your own opinions, and I don't pretend to be any expert. I really just love this game and enjoy playing, and I do okay with it. I don't know any more than any of you guys, but the fact is, I want to share what I do know and what I do enjoy, and that's why I'm doing this. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. I'll be back very soon with, I think we're going to cover Amber, Steel Aggro next, or possibly Ruby Sapphire. Both of those decks, especially, I mean, Ruby Sapphire hasn't really changed in the last, over the course from the last set to this set. But I think Amber Steel Aggro, where we had Diggy Hole a couple of months ago, to what it is now, that's a huge change. And it's a really strong deck again now, as it was back then. I think we need to look at Emerald Steel discard and also Emerald Amethyst discard. Both incredibly strong decks. Both I'm seeing a lot of right now as well. And of course, Amethyst Steel is another deck that remains strong. Didn't really get much support in this set, but I think it's still a strong deck in the form it was before. And in fact, I'm seeing that through my testing as well. Anyway, it's been lovely having you and lovely talking to you. Have a good evening. Thank you.